Welcome into Between the Pylons. I'm John Camacho.
And this is Jacob Waters.
And guys, we have a very, very special episode for you guys today. Mainly because we're going to be talking some awesome football. We're going to be talking college. The Final Four came out today. I vehemently disagree with it. I was a little upset, actually. I was downright mad. You were shocked. We're going to have a little bit of a callback from last week's episode because I'm just shocked. We'll get to that. And then at the other topic we're going to talk about, it's going to be kind of a roundtable discussion. We have two main topics we want to focus on. We're going to be talking about teams that will draft a quarterback in the 2021 NFL draft. We'll get into some of the quarterbacks that obviously will be going at the top and some big shifts that happen with that number one spot that most of you probably already know about. But before we get to all of that, it is your 25th birthday. I want to say happy birthday to my good friend Jacob Waters.
Thank you.
25 years old. How's it feel?
I'm old, man.
How does it feel? Because it's December 22nd. What's it like having a birthday on the 22nd? You just tell everybody?
Happy birthmas. Like what they do is they'll show up and be like, Merry Christmas. Oh yeah, this is for your birthday too. There you go. Because
my favorite thing is on Tuesdays we all try and get together. A lot of our friends get together. Play games. You usually play basketball when it's warmer. And today we're doing a Dirty Santa, right? On your birthday, we're doing a Dirty Santa.
That's how it goes.
And we'll say happy birthday, but it's
fine. I don't like surprises anyways. It makes me uncomfortable.
I love it. All right, buddy. Let's get going. Great birthday episode here Between the Pylons. Let's dive into this draft, man. Or excuse me, this college bullshit. You got to explain it because it heats me up.
I was shocked to see the 1 through 4 go out. So we have Alabama at the obvious one. They played a great game against Florida. Props to Florida for keeping it close later on in the game. Number 2, Clemson. They destroyed Notre Dame. Absolutely didn't even stand a chance. Trevor Lawrence or not, the big thing that changed in that game was the Clemson defense showed up to play. They stopped them. Notre Dame couldn't do anything. Then number 3, we have Ohio State. That's a little controversial considering the 6-0 struggled against Northwestern early on.
Yeah.
Minimal games played. And the 4, it's like, who's it going to be? Oh my God, it's Notre Dame. They gave Notre Dame a shot after getting their teeth kicked in.
So here's the backstory on this, and I actually meant to clip it out and be ready to play it on this pod. Didn't do that. Terrible producer here. I apologize. But last week we were talking about how the Final Four is going to end up looking, and we looked at this ACC Championship, and it was Clemson versus Notre Dame, and I said, so Texas A&M, as long as they win, they're in because one of these two teams is going to lose and be out of the top 4. I thought it was a done deal. I thought even if it would have been close, Notre Dame was still probably going to be out. Like if Clemson won by 4 points by a field goal, even if they went to overtime, I thought if Notre Dame lost this game, they would probably be out. And I was clearly wrong. Fair enough. If it would have gone to overtime, probably would have been a bigger decision, and we could at least sit here and say, I get it.
That's the way that I said Notre Dame makes it.
Yes.
I said that they can afford a close loss, even a 7, little over, maybe a 10-point window at the furthest.
Make it look close.
It was 30, right?
34-10, and guys, it wasn't close. It wasn't close. There was a point where I think Notre Dame had a chance. They were actually, I think, up by a field goal early, and they had a chance to take a commanding lead. They were down in the red zone. They ended up kicking a field goal that should have been a chip shot, missed, and it was all Clemson after that. All
downhill from there.
That was in like the end of the first, beginning of the second quarter, somewhere in that ballpark.
On their first drive, he threw an interception.
Exactly,
and it looked like, is Clemson going to come out to a slow start?
Is there going to be a blowout? I was getting excited. I was like, holy shit! I have a bet with Jacob. If Clemson or Ohio State wins the national championship, I lose $20, or $50. Excuse me.
And going back to that bet, I always asked, I was like, man, do I want, both teams made it. Clemson and Ohio State is who I have my money on.
You are going to have one team that's going to be there. You're going to be represented. I wasn't sure if
I wanted it to be like that or if I wanted one to play the other and one to play the other so I could have a guaranteed I win championship. But either way, this gets me one shot at it. Mm-hmm. At the worst, it's 1 week off of having to pay you because Alabama is very much a thing. Yeah. And Notre Dame is going to get their teeth kicked in.
Yes.
I saw Notre Dame fans. It was an elderly couple watching the playoff preview show, and the lady on the couch was saying, please not number 4. Please not number 4. She didn't want it. Yeah. They don't want this because these fans are used to getting all the attention, all the notoriety, and then when the big game happens, they just go to sleep, man. Notre Dame gets the crap kicked out of them. Now you got Alabama coming.
How mad are you if you're Texas A&M? Play an all SEC schedule. Let's go to Texas A&M at number 5 here. They did everything they could, right? They beat Tennessee 34-13. They beat Tennessee just as bad as Clemson beat Notre Dame, right?
Yes.
So game was pretty much over. They beat Auburn. They beat LSU. Granted, not the best teams. Who'd they lose to? I don't even remember. They lost to Alabama. They lost to Alabama. Got smashed by Alabama. Fair enough. You're telling me they didn't deserve another shot at Alabama? When you played an all SEC schedule, you took care of Florida. You took care of of South Carolina. It wasn't the worst schedule in the world. I get it. Your big wins was probably Florida, Auburn, LSU, Tennessee. I mean, you have Arkansas there. You have
Florida being one of the major ones there.
Yeah, so I get it. But you played an all SEC schedule. You came out almost unscathed, and then you watch the team that's going to be ahead of you get their teeth kicked in by the number 2 team in the country. It makes absolutely no sense to me. I don't get it. I'm gonna go back to, I don't believe the people that are making these decisions, the committee, the playoff committee. I don't believe that they are honestly looking for the 4 best teams. I don't.
I can definitively agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
They put out a rhetoric that says we are looking at the best teams no matter what. Listen, cut this shit. If you want to have an argument for the best teams out there, I won't even mention A&M in this. Florida, they're a 3-loss team. I get that. They dropped a crappy game to LSU. Texas A&M beat them by that. I understand the 3 losses. They shouldn't be there. But if you were looking for the best teams in the country, pick the team that went toe-to-toe with Alabama and lost by 6 points. Yeah. That is the closest margin we have seen at Alabama. And Florida was able to erase a 31-17 halftime deficit.
Yeah.
Come back and make it a ball game. Sure, they misplayed it. They had an interception where the guy got absolutely railed, and Bama got the ball back. Mistakes happen in the game, but if you're looking for that, I would have rather seen a 9-0 Cincinnati got their shot, because at least they didn't trip up.
Yeah. And listen, I'm not going to argue for it, because there are people saying, what about Cincinnati? What about Coastal? Is it impossible for these guys? Yes, it is. It is impossible. You're not getting in. I'm sorry.
No way.
You are not in a conference. You do not play the teams where you have the ability. Now, if you schedule a game against a big SEC team and you win that game and you win your the rest of your schedule, you probably do deserve to get in. And if that happens, and I'm sure at some point in college history it will happen, or college future, it'll happen at some point. Didn't happen this year for Cincinnati. Didn't happen for Coastal Carolina. Both undefeated teams ended up number 8 for Cincinnati and number 12 for Coastal Carolina. Look, I think they deserve to be there. I think it's a testament to the program, to the coaches, and to the players to be in the top 10, top 15 of the final rankings. That's awesome. And now you're going to get a great bowl game against a big school. You don't belong in the college football playoff. So
Cincinnati's catching Georgia. So there you go.
Exactly. So that's their playoffs. And if they beat Georgia, you know what? Come around next year. Maybe you deserve it. Like maybe we take a second look. Kind of the same thing with UF when they had the 2-year run where they were really good. The second year, I thought that maybe the second year if they could do it again, they deserved it. Yeah, they might have deserved it the second year because that program was so good for so long.
They beat Auburn in that ball game one time, but I feel the same way about Cincinnati, Georgia as I did the Auburn UCF, because for the smaller school, Georgia, it's their Super Bowl.
Georgia, this is a letdown game for Georgia. They don't want to play this game. They don't want to play Cincinnati.
They're 7-2. They're already going through all the COVID tests and all that bull crap that they've been going with.
Where are they on this list?
Some of them just aren't invested.
Oh, they're number 9. Okay,
yeah, they're number 9.
Yeah, so they lost out on their playoffs, like a legitimate school that had playoff aspirations. They lost out on it. I actually agree with, because I remember our old bosses. I think we worked together at the time when Auburn played UCF and lost in that playoffs. I'm going to bet on Cincinnati. Well, I'm going to bet on Cincinnati money line to win this game.
Into that game saying, bro, we had 4 seniors sit out because they're going pro. It's a letdown season. These guys just had their hearts ripped out because they didn't win the SEC championship. Yeah, and now they have to go play the small guy who's playing like he's 12 foot tall.
Everything. Yeah,
this is their moment. Bet on Cincinnati in this game.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that, man. All right, so we obviously disagree with the playoffs. It sucks. I'm going to say it again. I have been a proponent for this for a while. Take away 2 games out of the year and make it 8 games. Make it 16 games. I don't care. I would rather see something like that. 16 might be too much, but 8 games, so fucking fair.
8 teams.
8 teams. That's what I'm saying. 8 games. 8 teams.
This playoff needs to evolve into an 8-team format.
And listen,
at the bare minimum 6.
Yeah,
because you have 5 Power 5 conferences. The Big 12, Pac-12, Big 10, ACC, SEC. Winner automatic bids. 6.
Period.
6, you give Cincinnati their chance. You give the Coastal Carolina their chance. You give the one-loss Texas A&M SEC loser, you give them the chance, but you can have these auto. That's why I say 8, man.
Yeah, I think it should be 8.
8, you give
I
the
think
Power
you
5
have
auto
5.
bids.
You have 5 guaranteed, and honestly,
Yes.
I think it should be 5, and that's 1 through 5. Your top 5 are scheduled 1 through 5, and then the top 5 can vary based on skill. It's probably going to be the SEC team at number 1, obviously, but like if a Clemson, crushes everybody, they probably end up at number 1, something like that. But you can rank that 5 however you want. Who cares? People can get mad about that. That gives you your clicks. That gives you your talking points. All that bullshit that the college that's part of the conversation. I guarantee you within the offices. And then you have 3 teams, the best 3 teams that didn't win their conference. If they didn't get a chance to win their conference, and look,
no matter the excuse,
and look,
you give the small dog their chance. Give the big one.
I will argue if that would have happened this year, Notre Dame still shouldn't have gotten it. I will make that argument. If there were 8 teams and they got in at 4, but if there was 8 teams, they were in the ACC Championship game and they lost, I feel like that was your playoffs. Like that was the first round of your playoffs. You fucking lost. You don't get it. I feel like that should almost be the way it's looked at. It's not going to end up working that way. I get it, but I mean, I really feel like when you're in a situation like Notre Dame and Clemson were in, that was an NFL playoff game essentially. You lose, you're out kind of situation is what it is. 8 teams should be the standard. I can't wait until they go to that. It has to go to that. The way this is set up is so fucked, and I get it. It used to be 2 teams, and that's tougher. But honestly, 2 teams would be easier than 1 team.
Did you hear the reasoning behind as to why Notre Dame did it over A&M?
Yeah.
They compared schedules, and Notre Dame had 1 more win over a ranked team than A&M had, technically.
So you're not picking the best team.
And I can't,
so you're not fucking picking the best team.
At the time. Yeah, exactly.
You're not. You can't fucking say.
They have a formula. That's the thing is that when it goes by their guidelines, they'll say, yes, this team's the better team. At the end of the day, too, I personally think that a lot of people out there, they were going against the SEC bias here. No one wanted to see the A&M Bama matchup in the first round. That's my argument behind it. Notre Dame fans didn't want to see them get their teeth kicked in by Bama.
I'm a fucking Florida State fan. I don't want to see Jeff Fisher succeed. I don't want Jimbo. Jeff Fisher. Jesus. I don't want to see Jimbo succeed. I don't want to see Texas A&M be good. I was so fucking happy when Texas A&M was bad. Texas A&M was bad for a couple of years, and they were thinking about buying Jimbo out already. Yeah. I was fucking excited and was like, fuck Jimbo. He left my school. So, but I'm still sitting here saying Texas A&M was the better fucking team this year. They just were. Period. I mean. Whatever. It is what it is. We're just kind of repeating ourselves. It's not good content because we both agree.
It's fine. It's unfortunate. Yeah. A&M should have edged out and gotten there because of the margin of victory that Clemson had over them. This should be too fresh in our minds. Notre Dame getting beat down.
What did Clemson have to do? Did they have to bring put 50 on them? Like what was the mindset for because I can't imagine if you're making this decision, you have to go into that championship weekend, especially this year when we saw Clemson and Notre Dame at 2 and 3 going at each other. You had to go into it thinking if this happens, this happens. If this happens, this happens. Right. So you go into that and you say, if Notre Dame loses and gets blown out to Clemson, they're still in. You went into the weekend thinking that? I don't get that. I don't understand the mindset. I'm sorry.
They're saying that a 1-loss ACC is better than a 1-loss SEC. And when you compare apples to apples, the meat that is in the SEC that you have to get through. I mean, even LSU this year, I'm not going to say that they're a good team, but you put them in other conferences, they're middle of the road.
Yeah.
Listen, there's a reason.
I'm not going to argue and say their schedule was awesome. Their big one was Florida. They lost Alabama. They beat Auburn, who wasn't great. They beat LSU, not great. They beat South Carolina, Arkansas. They beat Mississippi State. They beat Vanderbilt. And it was a close game against Vanderbilt, but that was the first game of the season. So you kind of give them a vibe.
You want to know how the committee values other games? Yeah. Auburn, a 4-loss Auburn team, unranked, go back to the rankings real quick, is playing Northwestern, the team that just lost to Ohio State in the championship game, 14th ranked Northwestern. Mm-hmm. That is the second Big Ten team versus the 5th SEC team.
Yeah, so they clearly value.
They know that the SEC is deeper and better, but they didn't when it came through 1 through 4.
Wow. That's such a great point, too. Wow.
Weird. Yeah, unranked really, Auburn is about to have to go take on 14th Northwestern. That's just where it lines up. Yeah.
So we got to move on here because I wanted to bring this up. This is not going to turn into an Auburn podcast, I promise, guys. But I mean, look, we got to talk about what matters to us.
Yeah.
And I need, because we were talking about this playing Xbox last night, I need you to go through the names that have declined this job, what's going on with this Auburn, because this Auburn hiring system, because it's so strange. It's such an interesting story, and I'd really like you to just take it away here.
Napier from Louisiana gets $800,000 annually from that university. He is a good coach. He is a proven coach, unproven at the big level, but of course, you're Auburn. You want to give him the chance. They offered him $5.5 million, and he turned it down. He said no. This is the chance for a guy to make a big step. We have Clark from UAB. UAB is a program, they had a football team. They shut it down. He came back, has them on the map now at a collegiate level, doing good things. Still don't want him personally, but Auburn offers him up. They say no. Lane Kiffin has declined interest. He's at Ole Miss. He currently has a job. That's cool. That's awesome. There have been so many names.
Steve Sarkisian, right? Is another one.
Sarkisian has said no. Sarkisian has come out and said no. When you were a Power 5 blue blood program like Auburn is, I truly believe that, unbiased. I think Auburn is.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would argue with that, right?
They're a perennial top 25 team that can go higher than that depending on who's at the helm. Yeah. And you should have coaches flocking to you. You shouldn't have to go below the bar.
This on paper should be the best job out there. And now, look, I will argue against that, because this on paper, you have to play at Alabama every year, not the best job out there. I get it from that standpoint, but you're telling me there's nobody, like, coaches have to have huge egos, right? I mean,
Venables said no today.
That's
another one.
Wow.
Go figure. He's turned down a lot of jobs in the past. I honestly knew that one was coming. Cristobal at Oregon already turned it down. But we're going on like coach number 6 or 7. Auburn is apparently, they were holding off on reaching out to Hugh Freeze. I don't know why. They reached out to him today. We're going to see how that one goes. Hugh Freeze at Liberty, former Ole Miss, got kicked out. It would be a good move. But at the end of the day, I'm hearing that it is the boosters controlling the program. They told Napier, they said, yeah, man, you can come. You can be the coach. You got to keep the DC, which is Kevin Steele right now. They really are attached to him. I don't know what it is, but the old heads love Kevin Steele at Auburn. You got to keep your DC, and you can't bring any assistants over with you. Why are you going to take that job if you're going to be constantly just minimalized and watched every move you make? You need to get a coach who has free reign and he can do what he wants with the program.
So we said on paper this should be one of the best hires. Yeah. They are making it one of the worst, and I just kind of want to break this down and hear your thoughts as a fan, and as me somewhat unbiased at least. You have a program who is basically saying you don't have control over your staff. You don't have control over the amount of money that you make. Obviously, that was another thing that you were talking about. And then the big thing is you have to play Alabama every year. You have to play in the SEC. And you just proved that beating Alabama 3 times in 6 years is not enough to keep your job. You just proved that in a COVID down year for Auburn, you lose 4 games, you're going to be out on the streets. Why take that job?
All while being micromanaged. If you're a small town coach looking for your big jump, yeah, technically it's like, wow, Auburn SEC let me get up in there. But if you're going to take that shot, if you're going to finally remove your name from the hierarchy of small coaches and go to the big level, you're going to want your best shot. The tools all around you equipped.
I mean, most of the time you only get one.
And if you miss, goodbye, you're out. Chad Morris got his shot at Arkansas. Didn't work out. He's out. He's the OC at Auburn now. Probably going to end up getting fired from that and go back down the totem pole. Small coach, they're not going to take their shot right now. I don't know. It's bad for the program. It brings me back to everyone saying the grass is greener with Gus. It wasn't. Look at all the shit that the man put up with. I see so many people trying to repent on Twitter. It's too late, man. You got rid of him. You wanted him gone.
Would it be insane if they went back and rehired Gus?
Gus should say no.
I mean, yeah, Gus should say no, absolutely. But they're already to the point where you cannot tell me you fired Gus and you thought you were gonna get at least one of the top names, right? But you fired Gus. You can't tell me you wouldn't rather have Gus than fucking some of these names that you already mentioned. I'm sorry, Cristobal at Oregon is not a good coach.
That's the best name out of all the ones out there.
That's the name that's popular and people can get excited about it. I'm sorry, but a part of being a good coach is what you do with top talent. I saw what he did with Herbert. He squandered it. I've seen what he did against this Pac-12 schedule that he had. He lost games that he shouldn't, or his team lost games that he shouldn't. He has not proven that he deserves to be getting this job. He turned this fucking job down.
He did. And Oregon upped his pay. He gets like $4.8 million a year now. Yeah. Auburn would easily beat that. Oh, yeah. He wants to stay at Oregon.
Yeah. And look, I think the best example was, again, the dude who you said was making $800,000 a year shit, whatever. It is what it is. It's ridiculous. Any other thoughts on that before we move on?
No.
It's just a crazy story.
It's sad. It's an I told you so moment, but it is not really because it's my team that I'm having to watch sadly fall apart.
Yeah.
I had a feeling, I had a gut feeling. It's like, I'm a Gus fan. Fire the man, $21 million buyout. That is huge. At the 30th, he's going to be getting $21 million in his fucking bank account. So boosters get ready to pay up. Now you're struggling to find the next guy lined up. And you can't blame him for not wanting to get that same scrutiny that Gus got at Auburn.
And look, I think before we realized all of the other things that were going to be a part of this, obviously
all the outside noise,
the outside noise.
Yeah.
You have the outside noise of the fan base that was not okay with just being really good, like not okay with just being a perennial top 25 team that struggled against some of the best teams in the country. Not okay with that. We want to be the best. We want to be better than Alabama. Okay, fine. If that's your standard, whatever. But on top of that, you have a boosters that are running the program, essentially. I mean, you have boosters right now. The way you explained it is that they're calling all the shots. You just get to go in and be a puppet. Fuck that.
And you will not get a top coach who can take you above Alabama.
You're taking circumstances that you can't control. You can't control that you play Alabama every year. You can't control that the fan base is a little bit on edge about their coaching staff. That's a lot of fan bases though. So that's not really a serious issue. But you can control these other things. You're turning one of the top jobs in college football into one of the worst. It's absolutely ridiculous to me.
Some of our last thing. Some of our players are tweeting out. Anthony Schwartz, known track star, fastest guy in college, is tweeting out circus emojis. Yeah, the players know.
Yeah, of course
they're tired of it. They know it is an absolute circus clown freak show.
You think the top seniors and juniors in high school know? They probably know.
Tell me about it.
They probably know.
What is that going to do to your recruiting class?
Yeah.
Get ready. Auburn, you might become the UT of the SEC soon enough.
That's so sad.
Man.
It is what it is,
War
though.
Eagle.
We'll move on. Anywhere else you want to go college?
No.
Any big games? I feel like we kind of covered some of the top names. It's impossible to cover everything.
Oklahoma is going to be a really fun.
That's going to be a great game.
I think Florida showed a lot of grit. It is just sad that they lost the LSU game the way they did, because I do think that if they could have had 2 losses, based off of what the committee has shown us. Well, I'm arguing 2 losses. I still think they are one of the better. They're better than Notre Dame.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you right now.
You can argue A&M because A&M beats them. That's fine.
I'm going to tell you right now. Texas A&M, Oklahoma, Florida, and Georgia are all better than Notre Dame. Any one of those teams playing, they are going to be the favorite.
I would rather see Cincinnati go just because they're undefeated with their record. At least give the small guys a shot.
I left. I just named the next 4 teams. I left Cincinnati because I'm not sure, but Cincinnati might be able to take them. I don't know. And Notre Dame's a great school. I'm not trying to shit on Notre Dame. They belong as a top 10 school. They have a good team around them. I get it. I really don't want to be a Notre Dame hater.
Do you know what the line is?
But they don't deserve to be here.
Do you know what the line is?
You told me last night. I don't remember 25. What it was. Yeah, bet on that.
Do you know what happens if Florida plays Bama? It was 13 last time. Florida covered. It's going to go down from that. So you're telling me that if you have a Florida-Bama matchup with a closer line, that would be a better matchup. Notre Dame 25, get the fuck out of here. You're not going with who the best team is.
Crazy. All right, let's move on. We're gonna get into some college stuff. We're really trying to hit college hard, guys. If you are interested into, we're trying to the draft. We're getting into the draft stuff. If you are interested in the draft coverage, if you're really interested in the NFL draft, that combination from college to the NFL, because during the season we try and cover all the big stories going on with both college and NFL.
Bounce around.
But in the NFL draft is really when we hit our stride. We absolutely love this subject. We dive into it. We do a lot of research. We put a lot of time and energy into it. So if you're interested in that type of content, please like and subscribe. Stick around for future episodes, because we're gonna have a lot of great stuff for you guys today. The segment today, the teams that are going to be drafting a quarterback, because last year at this time, and I don't have the draft order in front of me, but if you looked at a mock draft at this time last year, there were 5 quarterbacks going in the first round.
Of course.
And it's just not going to happen. Last year, 4 quarterbacks went. One was kind of a surprise with Love. But I remember last year at this time, you had the Georgia quarterback that was coming out. He was being talked about in the first round. You had Jacob Eason being talked about in the first round. All of these names that are now backups in the league we'll see what happens, and maybe they end up being something. Jalen Hurts was being talked about going in the first round. That's what happens at this time of year. We're going to try and look past that, and we're going to use the most logical thing. We're not even talking how we're grading the quarterback yet, because we're not there yet. Let's just talk about the teams that are realistically actually going to draft a quarterback, because last year it was unrealistic. It just wasn't likely. Yeah. This year we're just going to be very realistic. We're going to go down the line, And let's start with the number 1 and number 2 team that are going to be drafting this year in the 2021 NFL draft: the Jacksonville Jaguars and New York Jets. We talked about it a little bit.
Need quarterback.
Yeah, we were actually hanging out when the Jets won, which was crazy. They beat the Rams, and we really discussed all these different possibilities, how this could go down. And I want you to kind of give me your first thoughts, your raw thoughts on this 1-2 punch here on how this is going to go down draft order.
Jets is all I have is a wow.
Yeah.
I can't help but think that the players are fed up with the ownership and Adam Gase and the organization so much that they somehow pulled out that grit and won that game just to give a big old fuck you to the owners and say, we're not tanking anymore. We're tired. That's the only thing that I can come up with in my head as to why you would not want this generational talent.
Listen, teams and coaches don't tank. We know that. We know teams and coaches don't tank. Everyone was talking about the Dolphins tanking last year. And look, the front office took away every single talented piece. But guess what? We had a good coach in Brian Flores. We had young, gritty players, and we were able to win 5 games last year with the worst roster in the NFL. I'm talking about Miami Dolphins, by the way. So teams, the players don't tank. The coaches don't tank.
People on that team are going in there, putting their jobs, their money, their future paychecks on the line to win. Yeah. They want to win. So Jets, they did that. They got that win. There are so many different routes that we can take with what has happened now with the Jets. So
first of all, I kind of want to go through the emotion of a Jets fan, like a true Jets fan. I don't think there's many Jets fans that were happy about this one. Yeah, you don't want to go 0-16. But whatever, like, okay, it's something for your buddies to fuck with you about if you're, if it's a Jets and Giants fan hanging out in a bar. But at the end of the day, it's not anything that actually matters. And if you go 0-16, what a year to go 0-16. Yes. I mean, shit. And now they lose one game. Jacksonville hasn't won a game since week 1. Jacksonville overtook the Jets for that 1-13 spot. I was watching a couple different people talk about it. Most notably the punter Pat McAfee, who was the punter for the Colts when they were really bad before they drafted Andrew Luck. Right? They actually won the exact same week. They went 1-15 that year before they drafted Andrew Luck. They won the exact same week all those years ago, and he was talking about the elation of the players to get that monkey off the bat. That's a big deal. But he was also talking about how the ownership upstairs, they had to take a deep breath and not look so fucking defeated after a big win for the franchise. I can't even imagine what it's like for a Jets fan. Just the most Jets thing to do. The Jets could realistically go 1-15 and not get the number 1 pick. That's never happened before. That has happened once. That has happened once, and it was when Carolina was becoming a team, was introduced to the league, so they knew that they couldn't get that number 1 spot. So that's the only time. Actually, excuse me, it was Carolina that went 1-15. It was the Texans that were coming into the league. That's the only time it's ever happened that a 1-15 team didn't get the number 1 pick. Crazy.
It's sad, man. It really is. Trevor Lawrence is being talked about in the same breath as John Elway, Steve Young coming out of college. Yeah. Trevor Lawrence could have played 1 season in college and been a guaranteed first-round pick. I would argue number 1 pick. He would have been. He was the number 1 pick. As a freshman.
He was the number 1 pick when he won that championship for Clemson, 2 years ago now? He was the number 1 pick.
Yes.
He was already the number 1 pick.
You go back and listen to our pods. We have said the coming of Trevor Lawrence is happening. It is here. It is upon us.
We knew.
The window between him and a Justin Fields is...
it's a lot.
You have 1A at Trevor Lawrence. You're going all the way through the fucking alphabet before you get Justin Fields. And that's credit to Trevor, not to just disown Justin Fields. Justin Fields is a talented quarterback, has Pro Bowl status written all over him, I think, in my opinion. And we'll see, it gets different after that. But the whole point, Trevor is a can't-miss generational talent. New York Jets, that is in jeopardy for you now.
Let's put it this way. Let's put it in a different frame of mind for those of you who might not really get what we're saying. Yeah. Trevor Lawrence would be the number 1 pick, the number 1 quarterback taken in every single draft since Andrew Luck was drafted. And in the Andrew Luck draft,
it'd be an argument.
Maybe there's an argument. Other than that, he is the number 1 pick. He is the number 1 pick over, name him. The number one pick every single time. All right. So that's what we're talking about here. This is a slam dunk lottery pick here. Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll see what happens. So we know what the number one pick is going to be. Let's imagine right now that where it stands right now with 2 games left in the regular season, we're going to lock it in. Look, the Jets could still get this number one pick. Giants could still, Jaguars obviously could hold on. We'll see what happens. If the Jaguars, win a game, it could happen. We don't know. But right now, Jaguars number 1, Trevor Lawrence, that's 1 quarterback off the board. Let's get back to our original topic. We had to give the Jets sadness a little bit of love. At number 2, are they taking a quarterback? They have Sam Darnold, and I understand that's might be an issue for some people. Look, Sam Darnold is what he is. We don't really know what he is because he hasn't really played on a good team yet. So number 2, does Sam Darnold? Do they move on from Sam Darnold, draft a quarterback, or do they hold on to Sam Darnold?
Are you asking me?
I'm asking you. Yeah. What do they do? I think this is a question. I think it's a serious question.
That's why I said if we have teams that take a quarterback, the Jets are a maybe. And here's why. I stick with Sam Darnold. I don't think that Sam Darnold has had good weapons around him since he started. He has Adam Gase right now, who couldn't give a shit about
garbage.
Him. Last year, Sam Darnold had that illness that kind of threw off his whole groove and exactly. Didn't get going. If you take a Sam Darnold and you take a Justin Fields, Sam Darnold coming out has more flair to him than Justin Fields has right now. Whenever the names were first coming out, Sam Darnold was a better prospect than Justin Fields is better prospect right now. I keep Sam Darnold. I take Penei Sewell. I possibly trade down.
As I say, you either trade down or take Penei Sewell.
I would try to trade down and maybe pick up some more weapons. But you can't tell me with the Jets having that other first round pick that Penei Sewell, generational lineman, to fit alongside Mekhi Becton, who is working wonderfully in that system. And I don't know. I mean, I've seen Baby Gronk mentioned, Freiermuth getting taken as a tight end. I've seen any of the wide receivers. It's a very deep class in that.
They could go a lot of different directions. But
does that sound better to you, or does taking the shot at Justin Fields and having to just
look? It's a Justin Fields. I'm not convinced it's Justin Fields. I will start there.
So in saying that, is it quarterback then?
Yeah, I don't. I think you do to go quarterback. I will say that I get the argument. So I'm not like vehemently against it. I think it's a real decision. It's a real question. The question really is, and I think this is a fair point. Do you want a quarterback that has proven throughout this season that he can't put the team on his back and just win a fucking game?
That's true.
And look,
he's no Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, and look, I'm not trying to shit on him. I get that. Not every quarterback is going to be the Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson. You put the best quarterbacks in the NFL on this team, they win like 5 or 6 games, and everyone would still be shitting on the quarterback, except for people like us saying, hey, actually, he's really good. It's everybody else that's the problem. Yeah. But in this situation,
Baker, you throw Jared Goff, you throw Carson, all these above average quarterbacks.
Yeah, I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know how many wins they get. You put Jared Goff on that team. I think 2, maybe 3 wins. Like I'm not going to say better.
I'd say the same. Right?
I don't think Jared Goff's that much. If he's better than Sam Darnold, how? Like what way? You can't tell me there's one definitive thing that Jared Goff can do that Sam Darnold can't.
You're gonna have some Rams fans coming after you.
Fuck it. I've always been low on Sam Darnold. That is what it is.
The whole point he's saying is that
Jared Goff.
The quarterback position right here is up for debate. At the one spot, New York Jets, you had it gifted to you.
So let's get away from that. And I said all that to say I get that argument of you didn't put the team on your back. So what good are you? Let's move on. Let's get another quarterback. I look at this Jets team as a team that is not very good, that needs a legit bare bones rebuild. And I think you have Sam Darnold in there, who is a good quarterback. I have not lost faith that he is a good quarterback. Look, he was my number 2 or number 3 quarterback in that draft. I don't remember, whatever. I liked him coming out. I think everybody did. It looked like a slam dunk when he was drafted. I am not ready to move on from Sam Darnold yet. I actually think that if Trevor Lawrence is not on the board, you keep Sam Darnold and you fill up the rest of your roster.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what I mean.
No, that's what you think. So I at the end of the day.
So no to quarterback. We'll have 2 categories or 3. We'll put no. Of course, we're not going to go through every team that doesn't need one. They're pretty obvious. Maybe. That's where the Jets are for me. Is a maybe. Yeah. And Jacksonville, of course, they're a yes.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree.
The Jets are a maybe. I think that we will get some hate for it though.
Yeah, I get it. I do get it. I think I don't know. I think at the end of the day, if you think that Justin Fields or Zach Wilson or whoever it is a superstar, that's fine. Because Sam Darnold, to me, has already proven he can be a good quarterback and he can probably start on a lot of teams, or he hasn't proven it, but I still believe he can do that. But he has proven to me that he's not a superstar. So if you believe the superstar is there, take him. I'm not ready to say there is a superstar. So yes, let's say maybe they are not in desperate need of a quarterback unless it's Trevor Lawrence. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
Honestly, so we'll say that 1.5 right now. Let's go down the rest of the list. We have Cincinnati. They're not taking a quarterback. Carolina and Atlanta are interesting.
I put both of them at maybes.
Really?
And that depends on the way that it shakes up in this offseason. Yeah, Carolina very well could go quarterback. It depends on what Matt Rule in this long rebuild believes is his quarterback.
I don't think either team takes a quarterback. I really don't. Atlanta feels like more likely to me than Carolina because Atlanta's going to have a new coach, going to have a new organization altogether. They're going to be restarting. Are they going to look at this offense and say, yeah, you're good, but you're not good enough. Let's move on? Or
you can't rule them out as a no, though, altogether, because when you have a draft board, quarterback is mentionable in these
I don't think for
really?
Atlanta.
You don't think there's even a chance?
No, I really don't. I look at Atlanta because I could see them just saying, hey, we want to just do a total rebuild. We're going to restart. But you look at Atlanta, their real problem is creativity on offense, but it's not really the offensive firepower. And then it's defense, period. I mean, just at every level.
But with the rumors swirling about losing a Matt Ryan and Julio in the offseason, trying to get younger and move forward and just be done with
of course. If that happens, then they're going to do it. I don't think that's going to happen.
The way that I'm doing it is that if there's any chance at all, they are a maybe. They're not a slated yes, either of them. Because if you put them at yeses, that means that we already have what? 1, 2 being the Jets.
4. We have 4.
No,
that's
no
not
draft works like that.
Yeah, exactly. So we have 3 maybes in the top 5. You go Dolphins at number 6. That's the Houston draft pick the Dolphins have. Dolphins aren't taking a quarterback. Philadelphia's not taking a quarterback.
Jalen Hurts is playing well.
He really is. Yeah, he's playing great. And regardless of what they do, they're not going quarterback there at number 7. Number 8 gets interesting with the Dallas Cowboys. Do they take a quarterback? Look, we made the argument for it in our first top 10 mock. I don't actually think they'll do it. I think you can put them in the maybe column if they decide not to pay Dak Prescott. And I certainly think there's an argument for it. I don't think they'll actually do it. I would actually argue to put this in the no.
I would put it in the no before I put it in the maybe.
Okay, so we'll just say no there.
I just don't think that Jerry would pull the trigger.
Yeah, realistically, it's probably not going to happen.
Stuff like that doesn't happen. We just wanted to mention that there is a chance that.
We were having fun.
There's
with
a chance.
Exactly. Number 9, Chargers. They're not taking a quarterback. Giants. They're not taking a quarterback. Detroit. They're not taking. Oh, you disagree. You stopped. Go with your Giants take. Let's hear it.
No. Daniel Jones is a no. I'm talking about the Detroit Lions.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they can move on from Matt Stafford. That's possible.
Not saying that it should happen, but Stafford has had injury concerns over his career. Stafford is a great quarterback. If you see the no-look passes that he's able to do, Mahomes does that. That's on replay on ESPN till you go to sleep. Stafford does it. Stafford
and Aaron Rodgers, they've both performed some no-look passes that got no buzz. It's ridiculous.
Just how it goes. But there is a day and age when it is time to eventually move on from it. Not saying it should happen right now, but could we possibly see them pull what the Packers pulled this past year and maybe light a fire under Stafford or just get the guy that might be the future in the backup right there?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, no.
If there's a name that falls, say Carolina, Atlanta, Dallas, all those other ones don't do the quarterback, and there's what if somehow Justin Fields or Zach Wilson is on the board right here? I think there is a chance that they might do this.
Fair enough. Okay. Do you think they would trade up for a quarterback?
I don't know if they're willing to put that much behind it because I think they are decimated in so many other areas on the defensive side of the ball.
So here's my thing. When we get from 10 to really beyond that, you have to say, are they willing to trade up to grab a quarterback? To me, Detroit's not.
And if I can't say that, then I won't put them in that
Yeah,
that
so
spot.
I think
but
that's kind of where we're at.
On the fact that a quarterback could be coming soon for them.
So we're still going to say, we'll say maybe if you want to throw them in the maybe.
Maybe possibly a Jalen Hurts move in the 2nd or 3rd. Something like that. Get somebody else back there because right now, when Stafford
But right now, we're just talking first round. So we'll say no. We'll say no right now. San Francisco 49ers.
Yes.
They look, Jimmy Garoppolo has been injured the past 2 years. I get it. The Jimmy Garoppolo love is there for some people. He has not performed super great. He's not the reason they went to the Super Bowl last year. And it's kind of a cheap contract. And this is kind of the year where if they wanted to move on, they could
to do it before it gets bad.
Exactly. So they could do it. I'm going to say yes. I do think that they are a serious contender to take a quarterback. I really believe that.
And I want Trey Lance specifically.
Yeah, that would be an awesome pick. By that. Yeah. Denver is a no. Minnesota's a no. Patriots are a huge yes. Patriots are a huge yes.
They're a huge yes that could trade up. They could get rid of Stephon Gilmore and say, here's Stephon, here's our first. let's see if we can crack a top 10.
Yeah, honestly. And look at Carolina. I think Carolina would make that deal. Carolina number 4. I'll take Stephon Diggs and your number 1 and a number 2 or something like that. Yeah.
Yes.
Would not surprise me a bit if something like that happened. We'll go Chicago's an absolute yes.
Of course.
Beyond that, where do we go? So Las Vegas, Baltimore, no. Washington, it could be a yes. Yeah.
Washington is a yes. Just depends. They're playing well right now. It just depends on how the board falls. But
I think if they win the playoff, I think they win the division. They're not going to take a quarterback.
I don't think they will because of what the board looks like.
Yeah.
But if they are swapped in with the Jets and they're at the number 2 pick, they're taking Justin Fields.
Okay.
That's how I know that they're a yes for quarterback. Like they're looking for one. They're not going to get one because of where they're at, but they could use a quarterback.
Yeah. Arizona is a no. Dolphins again at 21 is a no. Tampa Bay is a yes. Indianapolis Colts are a yes. This is actually where it kind of gets interesting because, yeah, Tampa Bay, they're not going to stick with Tom Brady forever. I would think that this is one of those. This is where a dude who has all the measurables, has all the physical ability, but maybe he's a year away. They probably pull the trigger right here. Colts, I think, are the most likely trade up candidates. And then is that fair to say?
The Colts have Eason. But with that being said, I think that was a 4th round pick last year.
Yeah, so Eason's not.
You're not invested in that necessarily.
You're not proving to me that he's the dude.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's so hard to say theoretically. Tampa Bay, you got to look to the future. You got to see where it's going to go. Both teams in this, and Pittsburgh as well. Throw Pittsburgh in that same group of teams where they have a good aging quarterback, but you got to have an answer soon.
Yeah. So are we saying? I think Indianapolis should be a yes because we know that this is Philip Rivers last year. I feel very confident saying that. Tom Brady and
I'm going to say no on Tampa Bay. Tom Brady has another year.
Yeah, Tom Brady has another year, and we know
they don't have to do it.
The Steelers have another year with Roethlisberger, so we're good there. Rams, Seattle Titans, none of those teams are going to take a quarterback. Then you agree, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to say. And then moving down the list, the last one that could realistically take a quarterback is the Saints. The rest are Buffalo, Green Bay, and Kansas City. None of those teams are taking a quarterback. But I would have said that Green Bay wasn't going to take a quarterback last year, and look what happened. So we'll see.
Look what happened. It pissed Aaron Rodgers off, and now he's going to win the MVP.
Dude.
Damn it worked.
I was going to say the same thing. It worked.
Jordan Love, there's an argument out there that Jordan Love is the best offseason acquisition in the Packers history. Yes. Because if they end up winning a Super Bowl because of this.
If they fucking win a Super Bowl because you lit a fire under Aaron
Jordan
Rodgers.
Love to it. And technically, Jordan Love has a ring.
Yeah.
There you go, John. Yeah. You win your argument, bro. Yeah. He was the first one to get a ring.
I love it. All right. And last one, obviously, New Orleans Saints. A very interesting conversation because I don't think they take a quarterback. I don't. I think they are fine. I think they're really, really fine with Taysom Hill at the reins. And what they'll do is they're going to keep Taysom Hill and they're going to keep Jameis. And they'll run it with that. This has to be Drew Brees' last year. I would be shocked if he stays around another year.
I could see where they do it. I could also see very easily where Sean Payton says, I'm an offensive genius. I'll win with what I got right now.
Yeah.
And I think that might be one of the stipulations that isn't public about Taysom Hill's contract because they didn't play Jameis when the quarterback went down. They ran to Taysom, and Taysom wanted franchise money. Well, he didn't take franchise money, but maybe they had a stipulation there that said, hey, when it's time for a quarterback, I want to show you. Yeah. I want that, and I'll stay. Boom, there we are.
Yeah. All right. So those are the names. Let's go back through this really quick, and let's count them up, right? Jacksonville's taking a quarterback, period, right? I'm just going through the names that are absolutely going to take a quarterback, and then we can go back around. Jacksonville's taking a quarterback. Chicago's taking a quarterback. The New England Patriots are taking a quarterback.
Yes.
Beyond that, there's no guarantee on any of the other ones.
Of course.
3 quarterbacks are going to go in the first round because those 3 teams, I don't foresee them not taking a quarterback. Now, then you get into the maybes, right? And this is where it kind of gets interesting because I can definitively say at this point in the season, Cam Newton will not be a starter next year. He might be backing up somewhere. He might have a chance to start, whatever. He will not be a starter. But I will argue that Stafford will be. If it's not with the Lions, and look, I'm just going through like the maybes.
Yeah.
If it's not with the Lions, it will be somewhere else, and it'll be a team that like the Colts. If the fucking Colts want to move on from Philip Rivers and they need a quarterback, hey, Matthew Stafford, we'll take you for a couple of years. I know for a fact that I'm trying to think of it. Jameis Winston will be a conversation in the offseason, right? He might be starting somewhere. You look at San Francisco, they can figure it out with Garoppolo if they believe.
Sam Darnold and the Jets. Sam
Darnold can start. There are 3 teams that are going to take a quarterback. And look, we put out a lot of maybes. And at this time last year, again, there were a lot of maybes that we could have talked about, that we could have really, dug into. And I'm sure we did. I know a lot of other people did with mocks and stuff. But stop telling me there's going to be 5 quarterbacks going this draft. I just don't think it's going to happen. There's not going to be 6. So all these quarterbacks that are going, let's go through. Mac Jones, if he comes out this year, he's not going to be a first round pick. I'm sorry.
You really don't think so?
No, he's not. He's not going to be one of the top 3 quarterbacks that go.
And that's the argument.
That's the argument.
If you're not top 3,
okay. And look, and there might be a later, like number 20.
I'm willing to say that if I had to pick how many,
let me rephrase this argument, because last year there was one quarterback that goes 20 through that went to the Packers late. I'm talking top 15 teams are making a serious top 10, top 15 teams are making a serious investment for their future type of decision, right? So look, there might be, and also I will stand by the Mac Jones argument, because Mac Jones is not the physical talent, and I haven't studied him, but I know off of tape, he's not the physical talent that you look for in the mid-20s when you're just looking for physical ability that you can hopefully mold, right? Like, that's not what Mac Jones is. Mac Jones is, he might be a great starter in the NFL, but he's going to be a great starter because of his decision making, because he's throwing ball, and things like that. It's not physical, It's not raw talent. Yeah, thank you very much. It's not raw talent. So 3 quarterbacks go. We know it's Trevor Lawrence. We know that for sure.
I can see more.
Well, okay, so where's it at?
I can see 5. I can see 5 going not based on team. I can see 5 going based on name and the talent and the way that I'm seeing mock shape out.
Yeah.
And then there could be teams that take, I understand, trust me, that the names always fall. But you have Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Mac Jones.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Heisman winner Kyle Trask.
That's what I'm saying. There's 6 names that are out there. And I'm telling you right now, these guys should probably go back to school.
I think if you're
Kyle Trask, go back to school.
Jones, go back. You'll be the 1 and 2 next year.
Go back. Kyle Trask and Matt Jones got to go back. These 6 names, not all 6. I guarantee you right now, of these 6 names that are out, a couple of them are going to go back. And every single one can, by the way. Like, every single one, even if they're senior, I don't know every single player's situation.
Even Trevor and Justin
doesn't matter, because this year didn't count towards your eligibility anyway. So every single one of these guys can go back for a number of years that they want to.
These kids are going to have to truly surround themselves with smart people, not filling their heads. If you're Mac Jones, especially. Mac, you're a guaranteed top 10 pick, possibly top 5. I'm hearing buzz that the Carolina Panthers will take you.
Bullshit.
Don't listen.
Mac Jones ain't going in the first round.
There's a chance. I'm not going to say that there's not a. I think there's a chance that Mac Jones can go. Well, if he wins the Heisman, I think it's hard to say that a Heisman quarterback doesn't go in the first round from what we've seen. He's a talented quarterback. He kind of smells like a Bears quarterback for me.
Yeah, okay. Look, you're right. The Bears might take him. That'll be a bad pick.
There's a chance in saying that. But I'm saying surround yourself with smart people and know your worth. That, Jacob Eason, after the combine came out, man, he has a rocket arm. I'm hearing that the Buccaneers are looking at him in the first round. He went in the 4th round. Think if he was given the opportunity to maybe wait another year, of course, this wouldn't be the year to come out. But Mac Jones and Kyle Trask, very talented.
Listen, I think all the names that we mentioned, all these teams that we mentioned that could have a chance to draft a team or draft a quarterback that are maybes. Look, San Francisco will be stupid. If they don't draft a quarterback in the first round, they would be stupid not to take one of these guys in the 2nd or 3rd round at some point. Like, if San Francisco has a chance to do what the Eagles did this past year with a Jalen Hurts type of guy, I'm not saying.
Can we count the 2nd round too then, in saying that all 6 of those names come out? Do they all 6 go in the 1st and 2nd?
I think Mac Jones is Jacob Eason. I'm sorry. I think Mac Jones. Wow. Mac Jones is getting all the hype right now. Mac Jones will be a mid-round pick. It would not.
I feel dirty for defending an Alabama quarterback.
Look, I'm sorry. Look, I get it. I 100% understand. And look, I haven't studied these guys, so I could go.
Is it the turnoff from the talent? Because this is one thing that I have to acknowledge. Yeah. The talent that is surrounding Mac is outstanding.
Yeah. Look, part of that was the same issue I had with Tua last year, but like I look at the difference between when Tua was in and when Mac Jones was in last year. Yeah, the product on the field, it didn't really matter. Alabama was going to win because Alabama was going to win, but you could clearly tell a drop off. I think that's my first thing is the little, because I didn't study Mac Jones, but I did study a lot of the players that were on Alabama last year. So I did notice when Tua was throwing the ball and when Mac Jones was throwing the ball. So I can definitively say Mac Jones is not a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, or not a top 10 draft pick. I can definitively say that without having seriously studied him, I feel confident saying that. And in this draft, and you're saying 6 guys go, look, Maybe. I guess the team in the bottom of the second round could take him.
Just shove that door shut.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah, you're right. It's sure. But I don't think it will.
There's a chance that certain guys believe. This day and age in quarterback, we haven't seen it in a long time, but there was one draft in particular where there are names that just flew off the fucking board that were not supposed to, and a Jake Locker to the Titans.
Yeah, that was the big
Ponder,
year.
Like, it's just like, what is going on here?
This could be that year. I don't know, though.
I don't know. I'm just saying that these 6 names are very, very talented.
Is this... Okay, so the last time we had legitimately 5 names that went in the first round was the Baker Mayfield,
Baker, Sam, Josh
Allen and Josh Rosen, and then obviously Lamar
at the end. Yeah.
So is this class that talented coming out? I'm sorry, like top end, yes, top end for sure. Trevor Lawrence is better than any 5 of those names coming out for sure.
I don't even look at Trevor and take him for what he is. Yeah, he's the best. I'm not going to accrue value to this class because of how good Trevor is.
Yeah, exactly.
I take Trevor being a legendary. He's going to be a great quarterback. I'll say that.
Yeah,
Justin Fields, great quarterback. Zach Wilson, promising talent. Possibly great quarterback based off of that. Kyle Trask, I think he can be
has
good
a lot
of
good things going for him. Yeah.
Mac Jones, I see Mac Jones' ceiling being. He throws a really pretty deep ball. He reads the field well, but with this day and age in quarterback and the way that we see athletic mobility on stretching plays out, Mac can throw a good. He can make every NFL throw you want. I can say that for sure. He can make all the NFL throws you want. He's limited in certain areas.
I'm not gonna disagree with you because I'm not confident in that. I
get it.
I won't say I agree either because I haven't studied
Mac is a good quarterback. He is a talent out there. I don't know if he's first round.
Listen, I haven't gone under the hood and studied him as a quarterback.
Trask is a good quarterback.
Trask is really promising. A lot of times, like I was a little low on Trask coming into this season, and I feel like he's really improved, and he already had a lot of things going for him last year. I'm very intrigued by Kyle Trask. I look at Mac as, and granted, this is just TV watching, not really me studying him and studying, the play and all those other things that go into talent evaluation and all that. Every ball he throws is wide open. Like I'm sorry, I have issue. Every pass he throws, there's nobody around him. Like I'm sorry, and look, this is just me TV watching. I haven't studied Alabama. I don't watch Alabama play every single week. Maybe there's a lot of super athletic plays that I'm just not seeing. I haven't seen any fucking play where it's like, oh shit, he's a baller. To me, this feels like, hey, this dude is the quarterback on the best team in college football. Like that's what it feels like. It's like it's better
than that.
Okay,
I see him get mentioned in the same Greg McElroy, typical old school white quarterback who can just hand the ball off. Matt can do more than that. He is not up there with Zach Wilson, the top 3 in this class.
Talent-wise,
he's not up there for that.
Okay.
There's a chance the team might be intrigued by it. Me personally, no. I am more inclined to take a shot, and this is me being bold on Trey Lance.
All right, so before we get into Trey Lance, because I totally get what you're saying there. One more thing on Mac Jones that we can move on, we can put to bed. I look at Mac Jones the same way I looked at the hype for Jake Fromm. The fail for Fromm. I'm sorry. Like I get it. I understand. Hey, he's a good quarterback. He's a technically fine dude who can be a good backup for a long time in this league. But I'm sorry, Mac Jones to me right now is not a dude who you draft in the first or second round. And the reason being, after you get out of the top 15, like in the top 15 is you want talent and really good processing ability. That combination. After that, most teams are just looking for legit physical ability that they can mold, right?
Yeah.
That's why Jordan Love got drafted in the first round. I don't think the original goal was to
why Trey Lance and Zach Wilson will go here.
Exactly. That's why I want to get that out.
I get the
to Trey Lance.
The Fromm thing is kind of scary because good team, Georgia, perennial powerhouse, at the helm, surrounded by a lot of talent. Mac Jones, I think he's a little bit better than Fromm on a lot of the stuff that you see. But man, there's similarities there in saying that
for sure.
At one point you were saying fail for Fromm as if it's a guaranteed
and this
top
is
10
this
pick.
is 1 year of Mac Jones, right? After 1 year of Fromm, everyone's saying this is the next Tom Brady. I remember reading an article from BR, I don't know who wrote it, who said this could be the next Tom Brady. And it was Jake Fromm.
There's a reason that Georgia chose to stick with Fromm instead of Justin Fields at Ohio State.
So stop. Yeah, so we absolutely
there's a
agree.
Chance. I'll go to Trey Lance. He's played very few games out there. He got to play a showcase this year because of all the COVID rules. And mainly, that wasn't even for the team. That was for him. He rushed for 180 yards, a couple touchdowns. He was running over some cornerbacks. He is a very big body, built frame, strong arm quarterback. But at the end of the day, how bold is it going to be for a team to invest a first-round pick on him when you haven't truly seen him play for 2 years?
Yeah.
And even this year in his showcase, he had more rushing yards than he did passing yards.
Yeah, and that showcase was nothing. I'm sorry, showcase.
And that quarterback style isn't around right now.
Yeah, so that showcase versus whoever the fuck it was, a no-name school, that's not a real showcase. Your showcase is going to be at the Senior Bowl, and they're going to let him in. So that'll be interesting. I'm excited to see what Trey Lance can be. I know there's a lot of prominent guys in this field that really think he can be a legitimate dude. I'm not going to say I disagree because I haven't really studied him too much. It's going to be a tough evaluation, I think, for every team.
He's going to have one of the hardest jumps you've ever seen, though, going from FCS 2 years ago talent to NFL. Yeah. Boom.
Tough. Very tough. Hey, before we close the show out, because I think we hit everything on that topic before we move on. Do you have anywhere else you want to go there?
Huh? We hit all the six, I think.
So if you're good on that, I have some breaking news for you. I'm just looking at my phone. Auburn is narrowing in on head coach potential deal between Boise State coach Brian Harsin.
Boise State's had a good program for a long time.
It's expected soon.
Wow.
This is breaking news, guys. On the pod, like right now.
Auburn
you had not heard this. Yeah, I'm getting your raw reaction here.
Man.
I'm putting you on the spot. You had no preparation for this.
No, you're good. I know that Boise State is a good team. He's able to recruit up there in the Mountain West, but I'm just going to say disappointing.
So
I'm going to say initial reaction is disappointment just because I go back to where I said, show me a name that is definitively better than Gus. That's not it.
Was that the name you were looking for?
No, that off the top of my head, there was only like 4 or 5 guys that I really wanted. Boise State head coach, not one of them, because I didn't even know the name of him.
So Trey Scott tweeted out, I like Brian Harrison fine. I hope I'm saying that name right. I apologize. I don't think I've ever heard it said before. As I like Brian Harrison fine, but it feels like Auburn just hired a light version of Gus Malzahn after a process that cost $20 million. Is that a fair argument? Is that a fair statement?
It's a step down after paying $21 million buyout. You do not want to take a lateral, if not less move.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree. That's a tough.
Oh, what did Ferguson say?
Yeah,
that's one of my favorite Auburn.
Sorry, current. Here, I'll let you read it. Yeah.
So current and former players are posting about how they're unhappy with what's going on. A lot of fans seem to be on edge, a meltdown, downright apathy. Program's rep is taking hits. Auburn needs coaching search now. Yeah, I mean, it's
fair.
It's just showing the dismay in the program as a whole. I would say any coach you can pull right now is good. I'm still disappointed. I kind of was holding out for Hugh Freeze a little bit, just because I know the promise behind that name. I know that he's been at that level. It's going to be hard for a guy, man, to get that next jump and come in and compete with the big boys, Alabama, right away.
This is our first breaking news moment on the spot. Yeah. I mean, like legitimate. Holy shit!
Auburn head coach, man.
Yeah, I know this hits you because now, like,
it's okay. I just got to think about it.
Because I know your preparation process, and you spend a lot of time, and you have nothing.
I crunch numbers.
Yeah,
I'm thinking
of course.
About recruiting here.
I'm
thinking about Alabama whooping our butts for years to come.
Wow. It's too
bad. Here we go.
Hey, it's not official, but it's looking like, especially the way that we've kind of broke down how this Auburn coaching search has looked. Yeah, Boise State.
I really wanted to know the name.
Been a good school for a long time. Really has. I don't know how long he's been there. I'm going to be honest. I kind of just skimmed this article while you were talking.
Later,
I don't know anything about him. I'm going to be really, really honest with you. I'm trying to just go back and skim. They won the Fiesta Bowl 69-19.
Yeah, I mean, Boise State is always a good program, though.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, cool. I'm sorry, buddy.
It's okay.
It is what it is. We don't know.
We'll see how it plays out.
We'll come back next week.
Gus was a high school coach who got his shot.
Exactly. So we'll come back next week with maybe a little bit more of a detailed breakdown of that hire, and I'll let you take a part of that. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Thank you so much to Underdog Podcast Network for having us. We really appreciate it. Peace out, guys. See you next week.
Boise fucking State.
Boise State.
I don't know, man. I'm torn. Like, I know that they have a lot of good that comes from there.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we couldn't even get fucking PJ Fleck or the Western Michigan guy.
Yeah, nobody.
Or Iowa State. Like, when you think of those promising names...
Like, I get why PJ Fleck wouldn't go. I mean, obviously because of the big names. But Brian Harrison, man, I think we're both about to do the same thing.
Boise
here.
ball coming your way.
Yeah.
Brian Harsin.
What was I saying? Harrison? Yeah.
Look up Brian Harsin.
Ex-football coach replacing Gus Malzahn.
Auburn set the high.
Oh, he went 69-19 with the Broncos total. That wasn't just after winning the festival. I misread that.
So he's been there a long time, coach.
He's been there for a while, yeah.
That's okay.
He's been there for a long time. He's
what
built up
the fuck is with us
program.
going for Arkansas State head coaches, bro? He's the guy who took over after Gus left for the Auburn job.
Really?
At Arkansas State. That's what we got in 2013. We got Gus back from Ark State. That is so weird. Why are they dipping into that again?